The night the forest tried to swallow Neka alive, she was laughing like a mad woman. Branches whipped her face. Her crooked spine screamed with every limping step. Behind her, the ground shook as the guardian beast, half lion, half shadow, eyes glowing like hot coals, roared so loud the leaves rained down like green tears. Thief! The beast bellowed, voice shaking the ancient Iroko trees. You dare steal from the heart of the forbidden grove? Neka's left leg, the one twisted since birth like a river root, caught on a vine and she tumbled forward, rolling through mud and thorns. But even as she fell, she was still cackling. Ah! Big man! She shouted back, voice cracking with both terror and mischief. You sound like my uncle when I ate the last piece of yam. Relax now. I only want one small leaf for the prince. The beast leaped. 10 feet of muscle and night black fur landed right in front of her. Hot breath smelling of wild honey and old blood washed over her face. Neka's laughter died in her throat because right then, right in the middle of the scariest moment of her life, a single memory punched her in the chest harder than any claw ever could. She saw her mother's face the day she was born. The village midwife had screamed, Chineke, the child is crooked. Her father had turned away. Her own mother had whispered, take her to the bad bush. No one will want her. Neka, now 21, felt that same rejection burning behind her eyes as the guardian beast raised one massive paw. The paw came down. She rolled left at the last second. Her crooked back actually helped her twist in a way no straight-bodied person could. The claws missed her by a hair and sank into the earth with a sound like thunder splitting a drum. She scrambled up, chest heaving. You know what's funny? She panted, still trying to joke because if she stopped joking she would cry. Back in Umoe's village they threw stones at me for being crooked. Now a spirit lion wants to kill me for trying to be straight, for trying to save somebody who actually matters. Her voice broke on the last word. The prince. Prince Chukwudi, lying on his royal mat in the palace 3 days' journey away, skin the color of dead ash, lips cracked, whispering her name, even though the whole kingdom had laughed when he first spoke to the crooked girl from the market. She remembered the day he had smiled at her, really smiled, while she sold bitter leaf in the market. Everyone else looked away. He had looked straight at her hunched shoulder and said, Your eyes carry the whole river in them. That was the moment she knew she would walk into hell, barefoot for him. Now hell was chasing her through the forbidden grove. The beast circled. The leaf of eternal flame belongs to the ancestors, it growled. No crooked outcast may touch it. Neka's eyes flashed. Then why did the ancestors show me the path in my dream, eh? Why did they whisper, only the unwanted can save the wanted? The beast paused, just for one heartbeat. That was all she needed. She darted between its legs, her small, twisted body sliding under the massive belly like a mouse under a table. The beast roared in surprise and spun, tail whipping like a whip. The tail caught her across the back. Pain exploded. She screamed but kept running, tears mixing with sweat and blood. Ahead, the ground split open, a ravine, 30 feet across. At the bottom, glowing red flowers, the leaf of eternal flame, pulsed like living hearts. But between her and the ravine stood the second guardian, the riddle weaver, a giant spider made of moonlight and old women's voices. The spider's 8 eyes opened at once. Answer me, true crooked one, or join my web forever. Neka skidded to a stop, chest burning. Behind her, the lion beast was charging again. She could feel the ground vibrating through her crooked foot. The spider spoke in 1,000 grandmothers' voices at once. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I? Neka's mind went blank. The lion's roar was so close she felt it in her teeth. She could already imagine the prince's last breath leaving his body while she died here, useless, unwanted, crooked. Then she laughed again, a real, broken, beautiful laugh. A map! She shouted. You are a map? because only someone who has been thrown away learns how to read the paths nobody else sees. The spider froze, its web shimmered and parted like curtains. Neka didn't wait. She sprinted for the ravine edge. The lion beast leaped over the spider, claws outstretched. She jumped. For one terrifying second, she was flying, crooked body twisting in the air like a broken bird. Then she landed hard on the other side, rolling among the glowing red leaves. One perfect leaf came off in her trembling hand, warm as fresh blood. The lion beast roared from the edge, unable to cross the invisible line the spider now guarded. Neka held the leaf to her chest and whispered to the night sky, Chukwudi, I'm coming. But as she turned to run back toward the palace path, the entire forest went silent, too silent. Then a new voice, soft, sweet, and deadly, floated from the darkness ahead. Little crooked one, you think saving the prince ends the story? A woman stepped out, tall, skin like polished ebony, eyes like two full moons, the witch of the whispering winds, the one who had cursed the prince in the first place. She smiled. The real trial has only just begun. Neka's heart slammed against her ribs. The leaf in her hand pulsed hotter. Behind her, the lion beast was still roaring. Ahead, the witch raised her hands, and the trees themselves began to twist into new, monstrous shapes. And in that moment, covered in mud, blood, and tears, laughing and crying at the same time, Neka, the crooked girl no one wanted, felt something she had never felt before. She felt chosen. Whew, if your heart is already racing like Neka's, do me a favor right now. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss when the next part drops. And comment below with the word crooked if you've ever felt unwanted like her, because this story is for every single one of us. I read every comment. Let's go. The witch laughed, a sound like dry leaves scraping across graves. You think one leaf can break my curse? The prince will still die at sunrise, unless you answer every riddle, survive every spirit, and face the darkness inside your own crooked heart. Nika wiped blood from her lip. Then let's dance, Mama. I've been dancing with rejection my whole life. One more partner won't kill me. She took one step forward. The forest exploded into chaos. The witch's laughter twisted into a hiss as the trees around them bent like old men forced to bow. Branches cracked and reformed into claw-like shapes, reaching for Neka. The air grew thick, smelling of wet iron and burnt herbs, the scent of powerful juju waking up angry. Nika clutched the glowing leaf of eternal flame tighter. It burned against her palm, not painfully, but urgently, like a heartbeat that wasn't hers. She could almost hear Prince Chukwudi's shallow breathing through it, each ras counting down the hours until sunrise. You think you're brave because you survived the beast and the spider, the witch of the whispering wind said, gliding forward without touching the ground. Her wrapper floated around her like smoke. Bravery is cheap, girl. Everyone is brave when no one is watching. The real question is, can you keep being brave when the thing you love most is the one asking you to die? Neka's crooked shoulder ached from the earlier fall, but she straightened as much as her spine would allow. If Chukwudi asked me to die for him, I would. But he never asked. He just looked at me like I was somebody. The witch tilted her head, moon eyes narrowing. And that is your weakness. Love makes fools of the strong and corpses of the clever. Let's see how much love you have left when I show you what he really is. She clapped once. The forest floor split open like overripe pawpaw. From the crack rose a mirror, tall oval, framed in twisted kola nut branches. Its surface rippled like black water. Look, the witch commanded. Neka didn't want to. Every instinct screamed run. But the leaf in her hand pulsed hotter, almost stinging, as if urging her forward. She stepped closer. In the mirror she saw not herself, but the palace at midnight. Prince Chukwudi lay on the royal bed, chest barely rising. His mother, the queen mother, knelt beside him, tears cutting clean tracks through her camwood powder. Servants whispered, prayers. The royal drummer sat in the corner, beating a slow funeral rhythm. Then the image shifted. Chukwudi's eyes snapped open. They were not the warm brown Neka remembered. They glowed the same cold silver as the witch's. His lips moved, but the voice that came out was the witch's. Tell her to come back empty-handed, Mira Chukwudi said. Tell her I never loved a crooked thing. Tell her she was only useful while I was dying. Neka stumbled backward, breath catching like thorns in her throat. The witch smiled wider. See, even princes lie when death whispers sweet things. He is already half mine. The curse I placed was not just illness, it was truth. The truth he hid even from himself. Neka shook her head violently. No, I know what I felt. When he smiled at me in the market, when he gave me his own wrapper because I was shivering, that wasn't a lie. Wasn't it? The witch circled her slowly. Or was it pity dressed up as kindness? Men, like him, collect broken things to feel whole. You were his charity project, little crooked one. The mirror rippled again. Now it showed Neka's own face, younger, 7 years old, standing at the edge of the bad bush while village children threw stones. Crooked, crooked, no husband will ever want you. The stones in the memory hurt just as much now. One hit her crooked hip. She flinched in real life. The witch leaned close, breath cool against the Neka's ear. Run home. Drop the leaf. Let him die. At least then you'll know you weren't fooled. Neka's knees buckled. She almost fell. The leaf slipped slightly in her sweaty grip. But then, small, ridiculous, impossible, she remembered something else. The day after Chukwudi first spoke to her in the market, she had found a tiny carving under her mat when she returned home. A little wooden bird with one wing bent wrong, just like her shoulder. No note, no signature. But she knew princes don't carve birds for charity cases. She straightened again. Tears streamed, but her voice came out steady. You can show me every ugly mirror in the world, Mama. You can make his face say whatever poison you want, but you can't change what he did when no one was watching. She lifted the leaf high. It flared brighter, throwing red light across the witch's perfect face. And you can't change what I'm about to do. Neka suddenly grinned, crooked teeth flashing. Besides, if I run away now, who's going to tell your fancy forest spirits that their big scary witch got outsmarted by a girl who can't even walk straight? That would be embarrassing. The witch's serene mask cracked, just a flicker. Anger, real anger. You dare mock me? I dare plenty, Neka shot back. I've had 21 years of practice. The witch snarled and thrust both hands forward. Wind exploded from her palms, hot screaming wind that lifted Neka off her feet and hurled her toward the nearest iroko tree. Neka twisted midair, again that crooked spine letting her bend in ways that saved her life. She hit the trunk feet first instead of head first, then slid down, bark tearing her wrapper and skin. She landed in a crouch, gasping. The witch advanced. Enough games. Give me the leaf and I'll make your death quick. Neka pushed herself up. Blood trickled from a dozen scratches. Quick? After all this trouble? No, thank you. I want the full dramatic ending. She bolted sideways, ducking between trees. The witch's wind followed, snapping branches like dry twigs. Neka ran blindly at first, limping, stumbling, heart hammering, then realized something. The leaf was guiding her. Every time she turned the wrong way, it cooled. When she turned toward a hidden path between two massive buttress roots, it warmed again, almost comforting. She followed the heat like a blind woman follows song. Behind her, the witch shrieked curses in old tongues. The ground trembled. Vines rose like snakes, trying to snare her ankles. Neka leaped over one, ducked another. Her crooked leg actually helped. She could drop lower, slide under obstacles. Straight people would have to jump or climb. If you're feeling every stumble and every heartbeat right now, pause the video for a second. Hit that like button if Neka's fight is hitting you in the chest. Subscribe if you want to see how far this crooked girl can go. and drop a fire in the comments if you believe love can outrun even a witch's curse. I'm reading every single one. Let's keep going. She burst into a clearing. In the center stood a single ancient silk cotton tree, wider than 10 men holding hands. Its trunk was carved with faces, hundreds of faces, all screaming silently. The tree of forgotten names. Neka skidded to a halt. The leaf blazed so bright she had to squint. The witch appeared at the edge of the clearing, wind whipping her wrapper like black wings. You cannot hide. From me here, she said. This tree remembers every unwanted child thrown away. Every name the village refused to speak, it will remember yours too. Neka looked up. Among the carved faces, she saw children, babies with club feet, girls with birthmarks like maps, boys born with no arms, all of them staring down at her with empty eyes. Her own name was not there yet, but the tree was waiting. The witch raised her hand again. Last chance, the leaf or join them. Neka took a shaky breath. Then she did the last thing the witch expected. She laughed, loud, wild, almost joyful. You want my name on this tree? She called up to the silent faces. Fine, but you'll have to earn it. She turned to the witch. You cursed the prince because he refused to marry your daughter, didn't you? Because he said, I will choose my own heart. You couldn't stand that a man could love someone you didn't approve of. The witch's face darkened. Silence. No, Neka said, I won't, because if you kill me now, the ancestors will see. They'll see a woman so afraid of being refused that she destroys everything beautiful. She held the leaf out, not to the witch, but toward the tree. Take it if you want, she told the carved faces, but know this, I'm not forgotten, not anymore, because someone saw me, and I'm going to save him, even if he never says another word to me. The leaf left her hand. It floated upward, slow and gentle, like a firefly saying good night. The carved faces blinked. One by one, their mouths opened and began to sing. A low, wordless song, a lullaby older than kings. The witch staggered back. No, no! The wind died. The vines retreated into the earth. The leaf reached the highest branch and nestled there, glowing softer now, like a star that had finally found home. Then the tree spoke, one voice made of every forgotten name. Chosen. Neka dropped to her knees, exhausted, bleeding. Alive! The witch stared, horrified. This isn't over. The prince still has until sunrise, and the final trial is not in the forest, it's in his heart. She vanished in a swirl of black wind. Silence returned. Neka looked up at the singing tree. Tears streamed freely now, not from pain, but from something bigger. She whispered, Thank you. Then she turned toward the path that led out of the forbidden grove. 3 days' journey back to Umuez, 2 nights left before sunrise, and one crooked girl who finally believed she might be enough. But as she took her first limping step out of the clearing, a new sound reached her ears. Drums, not the royal funeral drums, war drums, fast, angry, close. The village was coming for her, and they weren't coming to welcome her home. The war drums grew louder with every limping step Neka took toward the forest edge. Not the proud rolling rhythm the village used for festivals or wrestling matches. This was sharp, urgent, angry, the kind of beat that says, We are hunting. She pressed herself against the wide trunk of a fallen mahogany, breathing through her mouth so the sound wouldn't carry. Sweat mixed with the drying blood on her arms and made everything sting. The leaf of eternal flame was gone, safely tucked into the branches of the tree of forgotten names, but she could still feel its warmth lingering in her palm, like a promise that hadn't been broken yet. Thud, 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 thud. The drums were so close now she could feel them in her crooked ribs. Voices broke through the trees. Saw her footprints near the bad bush, carrying something red, bright like fire. The gods will punish us all if we let the cursed girl bring more misfortune. Neka's stomach twisted. They weren't just angry, they were afraid. And afraid people with machetes are the most dangerous kind. She peeked around the trunk. 6 men from Umoes, strong farmers, Palm wine tappers, the kind who never missed a village meeting, moved in a loose half circle. Torches hissed in the damp night air. Machetes glinted. Leading them was Okoro, the same wide-shouldered man who, 10 years earlier, had thrown the first stone when the midwife declared her crooked and unlucky. He raised his hand. The drum stopped. Silence fell like a heavy cloth. Okoro's voice carried, low and certain. If the girl comes out with the witch's leaf, we take it from her. We burn it. We burn anything she touched. The prince is dying because the gods are angry at us for letting an abomination live among us too long. One of the younger men, Emeka, barely 18, shifted uncomfortably. Papa said the prince himself spoke to her in the market, that he, Okoro cut him off with a look that could split firewood. The prince is sick in the head from fever. He doesn't know what he says. We protect the village first. Always. Neka pressed her back harder against the tree. Her crooked leg was starting to tremble from exhaustion. She bit the inside of her cheek until she tasted copper, forcing herself to stay quiet. Then Emeka spoke again, quieter. But what if she really can save him? Okoro laughed, a short, ugly sound. Then she'll be a hero. And heroes don't come from crooked girls no one wanted. They come from men who do what must be done. He lifted his machete high. Torchlight ran along the blade like liquid fire. Neka felt something hot and bright flare inside her chest. Not fear this time, but fury. They could call her crooked. They could call her abomination. They could even kill her. But they would not speak for Chukwudi. Not tonight. She stepped out from behind the tree, not dramatically, not with a shout. Just one limping step into the torchlight. 6 heads turned at once. Okoro's eyes widened, then narrowed. You! He spat. Neka lifted her chin, the crooked shoulder rising with it. I don't have the leaf anymore, she said. Her voice cracked only once. It's with the ancestors now, and they sang when it touched their tree. Did you hear them? Silence. Then one of the men laughed nervously. She's lying, she's mad. Neka took another step forward. Her wrapper was torn in 6 places, blood painted crooked lines down her arms and legs, yet she walked straight toward them, as straight as her body would allow. I'm going to the palace, she said. I'm going to sit beside the prince until sunrise. If he lives, fine. If he dies, at least he won't die alone thinking no one cared. Okoro stepped forward, machete lowered but ready. You'll not set one twisted foot inside the king's compound. We'll drag you to the bad bush ourselves. Neka looked straight at him, the man who had thrown the first stone when she was 7. You already tried that once, she said softly. I crawled out. I grew up. I learned how to sell bitter leaf, how to weave baskets better than most straight-backed women, how to laugh when people spit at my shadow. And I learned something else. She paused. Okoro frowned. What? That the gods don't hate crooked things, Neka said. They hate people who think they can decide who deserves to be loved. Emeka sucked in a breath. One of the older men, Papa Ike, who used to give her extra pieces of roasted plantain when no one was looking, looked down at his feet. Okoro raised the machete again. You talk too much for someone about to die. He lunged. Neka didn't run. She dropped. Her crooked body folded in a way no one expected, low, fast, almost liquid. The machete whistled over her head and buried itself in the mahogany trunk behind her with a dull thunk. Okoro yanked at the handle. It didn't come free. Neka rolled sideways, came up on her good knee, and grabbed a fallen branch thick as her wrist. She didn't swing it like a club. She jabbed it straight into Okoro's stomach, hard, precise, using every bit of leverage her twisted spine could give. He doubled over with a whoosh of air. The other men hesitated. Emeka stepped forward, not with a weapon, but with his hands raised. Wait, wait! Okoro wheezed, trying to straighten. Neka stood up slowly, branch still in her hands. I don't want to fight you, she said to all of them. I just want to reach the palace before the sun comes up. Papa Ike finally spoke, voice rough. Why, girl? After everything we did to you, why still try to save him? Neka looked at each face in the torchlight. Because he saw me, she said simply. When everyone else looked away, he saw me. And maybe that's enough. Emeka swallowed hard. Then, slowly, he stepped aside. One step, then another man, silent until now, moved his torch lower, making a gap. Papa Ike sighed, long and tired, and stepped back too. Only Okoro remained in the path, still clutching his stomach, eyes burning. You think this changes anything? He snarled. No, Neka answered, but it changes tonight. She walked past him, limping, bleeding, exhausted, right through the gap they had made. No one stopped her. Behind her, Okoro roared something wordless and yanked his machete free. But when he turned, Emeka was already standing between him and Neka's retreating back. Enough, uncle, Emeka said quietly. Let her try. Okoro stared at the boy like he had grown a second head. Then, amazingly, he lowered the blade. Not because he believed, not because he was sorry, but because just for a heartbeat, the night felt bigger than his anger. Neka didn't look back. She kept walking. The path to the palace was still 2 full days and one night away. Her body screamed at every step, but inside her chest something small and stubborn kept beating. And somewhere far ahead, in a palace lit by dying oil lamps, a prince whispered her name again, even though no one else could hear. The path out of the forbidden grove narrowed into what the old people called the snake's backbone, a thin, twisting ridge of red laterite soil that snaked between two steep ravines. On either side, the drop was sharp enough to swallow a full-grown man and his pride in one gulp. Neka walked it slowly, placing each foot like she was threading a needle with her own life. The moon had climbed higher. Its light turned the ravine edges silver and made every loose pebble look like it was waiting for an excuse to roll her off the edge. Her left leg, the shorter, twisted one, ached with a deep, grinding pain that traveled up into her hip and down into her toes. Every step sent a fresh reminder you were never built for long journeys. But she kept moving because stopping felt more dangerous than falling. Halfway along the ridge, she heard it, a soft, dry rustle. Not wind, not leaves, something following. She froze. The rustle stopped. She took one more step. Rustle! She whispered to the night without turning her head. If you're going to eat me, at least let me reach the prince first. He's prettier, better seasoning. A low chuckle answered from the darkness behind her, deep, amused, almost fond. Neka's heart gave a funny little skip. Not fear this time, recognition. She turned slowly. A shape detached itself from the black between two boulders. Tall, lean, wrapped in a dark blue hunter's cloak that blended with the night. A single white cowrie shell dangled from the left ear. The face that emerged into moonlight belonged to Mazi Uche, the man everyone in Umuez called the one who talks to pythons. He had not aged in the 10 years since she last saw him up close. Still the same sharp cheekbones, same quiet eyes that seemed to see through skin. You always did talk too much when you were scared, he said. Neka let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. And you always did appear when I least expected it, like a bad habit. He stepped closer. No weapon visible, but his hands rested easy near the places where knives lived. I followed the war drums, then I followed the silence after them. Figured only one person could make Okoro lower his machete without losing a limb. She gave a tired half smile. Emeka helped. Emeka grew a spine tonight. You gave it to him. Mazi Uche tilted his head, studying her torn wrapper, the blood drying into dark maps on her arms. You look like death chewed you and spat you out. Feels like it too. He reached into his cloak and pulled out a small gourd. Uncorked it. The sharp green smell of fresh aloe and pounded alligator pepper hit her nose. Sit, he said, not a request. Neka hesitated. The ridge won't get wider while you argue, he added. She lowered herself carefully onto a flat stone, wincing as her crooked hip protested. Mazi Uche knelt in front of her, something no grown man in Umoezi had ever done without being drunk or begging for forgiveness. He poured a little of the ointment onto his palm, warmed it between his hands, then began to dab it gently along the deepest scratches on her forearms. Neka stared at the top of his head. Why are you helping me? He didn't look up. Because someone has to. And because 10 years ago I stood at the edge of the bad bush with the others and did nothing when they threw stones at a 7-year-old girl. His voice stayed calm, but the words carried weight. Nika swallowed. You were young too. Old enough to know better. He moved to the gash across her calf. I've carried that shame longer than you've carried your limp. Silence stretched between them. Only the night insects and the far-off hoot of a wood owl. Then Neka asked the question that had lived in her chest since childhood. Did you ever think I should have been left in the bad bush? Mazi Uche's hand stilled for 2 heartbeats. No, he said quietly. I thought the village should have been better. He finished with the last cut, corked the gourd, and sat back on his heels. The prince, he said, is it true what they whisper, that he spoke to you like you were someone? Neka looked down at her hands. The knuckles were swollen from gripping branches and stones. He gave me a wooden bird once, a crooked-winged bird, left it under my sleeping mat. No name, but I knew. Mazi Uche nodded slowly. Princes don't carve birds for sport. That's what I keep telling myself. He stood, offered her a hand. She took it. He pulled her up gently, careful not to jerk her crooked side. Come, he said. There's a hunter's shelter 2 bends ahead. Dry mat, water, roasted yam from yesterday. You can rest 2 hours. Then we move again. We? You think I followed you this far just to watch you fall off a cliff? He gave the smallest of smiles, the kind that barely moved his mouth but reached his eyes. Besides, someone has to carry the story back if you don't make it. I'm good at remembering. Nika snorted despite everything. You're impossible. And you're stubborn, we balance. They walked on together. For the first time in 3 days, Nika did not feel completely alone on the path. But the night was far from finished with them. An hour later, as they rounded the second bend, the shelter came into view. A low mud hut with a thatch roof sagging like an old man's shoulders. Then the wind changed. It brought a smell Neka had never forgotten. Camwood powder, palm oil, and the faint metallic tang of sickness. The curse. It wasn't staying in the palace anymore. Mazi Uchi stopped dead. His hand went to the knife at his waist. From inside the shelter came a low, wet cough. Then a child's voice, small, frightened, cracking on every word. Mama, it hurts to breathe. Neka's blood turned cold. The prince's sickness was spreading, and they had just walked straight into its next victim. Mazi Uche whispered, Stay behind me. But Neka was already moving, limping fast toward the doorway, heart slamming so hard she could taste it in her throat. She pushed the grass mat aside. A girl, no more than 9, lay curled on the mat, skin gray under the moonlight, lips tinged blue. Beside her knelt a woman Neka recognized instantly. Adaku, the palm wine tapper's youngest wife. Her eyes were wide with terror. When she saw Neka, she scrambled backward, clutching her daughter. You stay away. You brought this. The elders said, I didn't bring it. Neka cut in, voice shaking but firm. But I might know how to stop it. Adaku's gaze darted to the girl, then back to Neka. Tears carved clean lines through the dust on her face. Please, she whispered. She's all I have. Neka knelt, awkwardly, painfully, beside the child. The girl's breathing was shallow, each inhale a tiny fight. Neka placed her palm gently on the small chest. She didn't know what she was looking for, but she felt it. A cold thread, like black river water, running under the skin, winding toward the heart. The same cold she had sensed in the witch's mirror when she saw the prince's silver eyes. Neka looked up at Mazi Uche. It's the same curse. It jumped. He nodded grimly. That sunrise isn't just the prince's deadline anymore. Adaku sobbed once, sharp and broken. Neka turned back to the girl. Hey, little one, she said softly. My name is Neka. I'm a bit crooked, see? She shifted so the moonlight showed her twisted shoulder. But crooked things can still carry big love. You just have to hold on a little longer, okay? For your mama, for me, for a silly prince who once gave a crooked girl a bird. The child's eyes fluttered open, just a slit. She managed the tiniest nod. Neka leaned closer and whispered, I'm going to sing you something my mother used to sing before she stopped. It's not much, but it kept me alive. She began, voice rough, cracking, barely above her breath. Little frog in the river bend crooked leg, but you still swim. Moon will rise, moon will bend crooked heart, still sings for him. The girl's breathing eased, just a fraction. The black thread under her skin seemed to hesitate. Neka kept singing, tears falling freely now, dripping onto the mat. Behind her, Mazi Uche stood guard at the door, knife drawn. Adaku clutched her daughter's hand and joined the song in a trembling whisper. Outside, the wind rose again, carrying distant thunder that wasn't thunder. Something was coming, and it was coming fast. The cough from the little girl turned into a wet, rattling sound that made the thatch roof seem to press lower. Adako rocked her daughter, whispering frantic prayers mixed with sobs. Neka stayed kneeling, one hand still on the child's chest, feeling that black thread of curse pulse like a second, slower heartbeat under the skin. Mazi Uche crouched in the doorway, knife drawn, listening to the night. Thunder that isn't thunder, he muttered. It's coming from the direction of the palace. Fast! Neka looked up. The curse is running ahead of us, like it knows we're trying to stop it. The girl, her name was Kioma. Adaku whispered between tears, gave a tiny pained whimper. Neka leaned closer. Kioma, listen to me. That cold thing inside you, it's a lie the witch told your body. But lies get tired too. You just have to be louder than the lie for a little while. She began the crooked frog song again, softer this time, almost a hum. Adaku joined in. Mazi Uche surprised everyone by adding his low, steady bass on the last line of each verse. The three voices braided together in the small hut, rough, tired, desperate, beautiful. The black thread under Kioma's skin slowed, hesitated, then began to thin like ink dissolving in water, not gone, not yet, but weaker. Kioma's breathing eased into something almost normal. Her lips lost a little of the frightening blue. Adaku clutched Neka's arm so hard it hurt. Thank you. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Neka said, voice hoarse. We have to keep moving. If it reached this far already, every child between here and the palace is in danger. Mazi Uche stood. The main road will be watched. Okoro and his people will have spread word. We take the old smuggler's trail through the bamboo groves, harder, narrower, but fewer eyes. Neka nodded. She looked at Adaku. Stay here with her. Keep singing if she gets worse. The song seems to hold. It's back for now. Adaku shook her head fiercely. I'm coming. She'll sleep soon. My sister lives half a morning from here. She'll take her. I won't let you walk into that palace alone. Neka opened her mouth to argue, then saw the fire in the woman's eyes, the same fire she had felt when she first decided to enter the forbidden grove. She closed her mouth and nodded once. They left the hut quietly, three shadows slipping into the bamboo. The trail was brutal, thin paths cut between towering green stalks that clacked together in the wind like impatient fingers. Thorns caught at wrappers and skin, mud sucked at feet. Neka's crooked leg burned with every step, but she refused to slow. They moved in silence for hours. Dawn was still far off, but the sky had begun to bruise purple at the edges. Then voices. Not hunters this time. Children, crying. They broke into a small clearing and found them. 7 children, ages 4 to 11, huddled under a single baobab tree. 3 mothers, 2 grandmothers, all of them gray-faced, terrified. Several of the children were already coughing the same wet cough. One grandmother looked up, saw Neka's crooked silhouette against the dim light, and gasped. The crooked girl. They said you brought the curse. Mazi Uche stepped forward before Neka could flinch. She's carrying the only thing that's slowing it down, he said. She's walking to the palace to finish what she started. If you want your children to breathe tomorrow, you let us pass, and you start singing the frog song, every one of you. The grandmother stared. Then, slowly, she began the first line. Little frog in the river bend. One by one, the mothers joined. The children quieted, listening. Ineka felt tears sting her eyes again. She didn't speak. She just nodded once, deeply, and kept walking. Behind her, the voices grew stronger. The song followed them down the trail like a living thing. By the time the palace lights finally appeared, tiny yellow pinpricks on the dark horizon, the group had grown. 15 adults now, 23 children carried or walking, more joining every half hour as word spread along the hidden paths. The crooked girl is coming. She has no leaf, but she has a song. They reached the outer gates just as the first grey light of false dawn touched the eastern sky. The royal guard saw the approaching crowd and raised spears. Stop! No entry! The palace is sealed by order of the Queen Mother. Neka stepped to the front, limping but head high. I need to see Prince Chukwudi, she called. Now. The captain of the guard laughed, then stopped when he saw how many people stood behind her. You think you can just walk in? Mazi Uche moved beside Neneka. Let her through, he said quietly. Or explain to the prince, when he wakes, why you turned away the only person he asked for by name in the last 3 days. The captain hesitated. From inside the palace walls came a sudden sharp cry. Chukwudi's voice, weak but unmistakable. Neka! The guards froze. Neka didn't wait for permission. She walked straight past them. No one stopped her this time. The crowd followed. Through courtyards, past stunned servants, past the royal drummer, who dropped his sticks when he saw her. She reached the prince's chamber. The queen mother stood at the doorway, face carved from grief and fury. You, she whispered, you dare? Neka met her eyes. I dare because he called me. She pushed past. Chukwudi lay on the mat, skin like old parchment, eyes half open and silvered with the witch's curse. When he saw her, really saw her, his cracked lips moved. You came. Neka dropped to her knees beside him, took his cold hand in both of hers. I promised myself I would. He tried to smile, failed, tried again. The bird, you kept it? She nodded, tears falling onto his wrist. It's under my mat, waiting for you to carve its other wing. He exhaled, a sound that was half laugh, half sob. The queen mother stepped inside. Enough, she's an outcast. She'll only... Neka turned, still holding his hand. She's the only reason he's still breathing, Mazi Uche said from the doorway. Behind him, the crowd filled the corridor, singing softly the crooked frog song. The queen mother listened. Her shoulders dropped. She stepped aside. Neka looked back at Chukwudi. The leaf is with the ancestors, she whispered. The song is all I have left. Will it be enough? He squeezed her hand, weak but there. Sing, he breathed. She did. Everyone did. The whole palace, servants, guards, mothers, children, the queen mother herself, sang the crooked frog song until the sun rose. And when the first ray touched Chukwudi's face, the silver in his eyes faded. His breathing deepened. Color crept back into his cheeks. He opened his eyes, brown again, warm again, and looked straight at Neka. You're not crooked, he whispered. You're the straightest line I've ever seen. She laughed through tears, and outside in the courtyard, the song kept going, stronger now, echoing off mud walls and palm roofs, traveling down paths and across rivers, reaching every child the curse had touched. It never really stopped, because every night, somewhere in Umueze and beyond, someone still sings it. A mother to her daughter, a brother to his sister, a girl with a twisted shoulder to a boy who once carved her a bird. And sometimes Just sometimes, when the moon is fat and low, you can hear the ancestors humming along. So if you ever feel unwanted, if you ever feel crooked, start singing. The song remembers, and it never forgets a single crooked heart. Keep singing.